internet. Welcome to the dark rooms.
Hi.
Hi. I guess that's our
Hi.
intro. I guess it's okay. What are we doing today, guys? Welcome back to the video on the dark rooms.
Are we gonna introduce ourselves?
Oh right, I guess we do have a special guest. Hi, I'm Psychic,
I'm Inky.
I'm Ozone.
and we have a special guest who is
Me, Cuben Fancy.
yes, Cuben will be joining us.
Yay! And we lost underscore in the making.
We ditched him. We tossed him out the back as we were driving, and he's gonna have to walk home, but he'll get here eventually.
Yeah.
Probably next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we are going to be talking about FNaF theories. And-
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
Five
not
Nights at Freddy Boy.
Yeah, but not current theories. We're first gonna talk about some of our old favorite theories. So, Inky, why don't you start? Do you even know some of the old theories? Because you're pretty new to this series, right?
Relatively, yeah. So I don't know a ton of the old ones beyond like the old MatPat ones, like phone guy, purple guy theory. I remember back in the day, everybody was debating over who was the player in Sister Location, whether you were Michael or William, and then obviously that led into all the MikeTrap debates and everything. So I know some of the old stuff, not like the really really early stuff though. Wasn't really around for that stuff. So yeah, that's my experience with it.
I would say my earliest theory is probably one of the first theories that people got confused on. It was whether FNaF 4, or not FNaF 4, FNaF 2 was a prequel or a sequel, which now we know it's a prequel.
Really?
Yeah, I mean there wasn't really any big theories from FNaF 1 that people got confused about.
Wasn't there a dog or something?
Sparky.
Oh, Sparky the dog. Yep, there was a conspiracy theory, where I think it was in the room with the endoskeleton that you could see
Backstage.
Backstage, yes, where you could see a animatronic dog named, and everyone called him Sparky.
But also there was.
I take it that sort of became Fetch, maybe.
I mean, maybe.
There were some debates about who Golden Freddy was. I guess because of it's me and stuff.
Oh, true.
Not really. I feel like at least I don't remember that, because I mean we didn't even know, we just knew there were 5 kids killed, 5 animatronics.
Yeah.
I guess
just something's adding up here.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just.
Alright. I remember some old theories that Golden Freddy was the killer, the actual killer.
Interesting.
Oh right, because before Golden Bonnie, everyone assumed that William used the Golden Freddy suit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't, looking back on it, there's not a lot in FNaF 1.
Yeah.
You have the newspapers, Golden Freddy.
I remember.
Sparky.
There was the old MatPat theory that you were the killer, and that this is some kind of nightmare or something. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, you kind of look at that, and then you look at
Ultimate Custom
Night.
Yeah, Ultimate Custom Night. It kind of ended up happening.
I do kind of want to talk about that theory because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like he actually got it spot on what Scott was referencing when he was making the first game. Because you remember
stuff that was
the Chuck E. Cheese incident.
Yeah,
it was so accurate.
It really was.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't
Scott,
know,
yeah, okay, you can explain it first.
So for those of you who don't know, in MatPat's first FNaF theory, he before we knew about Purple Guy, all this stuff that all came in FNaF 2. MatPat said that the idea of FNaF that 5 kids got killed was based on a real life event at Chuck E. Cheese, where an old employee killed 5 of his coworkers because he got fired or something, and he linked up, characters and events, and he even did the paycheck thing to find the year. So, and it was really well done, and looking back on it, it's still a really good theory.
Yeah, and did Scott ever comment on that?
I don't think
because I feel like that would be That would be kind
I
of a
think
bad. I feel like
I
it would be
think
a
he
bad PR thing to do. Just like, yeah, I totally based my game off of this real life killing.
I think he did, but it wasn't about how he based it off of it. I think it was just about how cool theory, but you missed some things.
I think that
And
was in FNAF 2 one. I
No,
don't
no,
the
like.
He
the
he said the
commented
FNAF. Yeah,
in FNAF 2, he commented like after FNAF 4 released, I think. He commented how he nearly got everything right with FNAF 2.
Right,
I
right.
think the only thing he didn't was like obviously the phone guy, purple guy.
mhm.
Yeah.
I just feel like that first theory was way too like close for it to be wrong. It's like kind of.
He
I
had
feel
a
like
good
Scott
It's
thing
actually
going there.
based the story off of that story.
hmm
But I suppose we'll never
we
know
will never know.
unless
Um,
Scott Cawthon himself
do you
takes
want do you
that
want to take a
PR
quick
risk.
take a quick moment and talk about how like a lot of MatPat's theories have been like actually confirmed by Scott. Like there was that one timeline that Scott was like, yeah, this is pretty much accurate.
Yeah, that was pretty early on though, and we don't know if anything's changed or like what things he got wrong and stuff. But
Which video? Which timeline?
I think it was his like final FNAF theory, the one before FNAF 6.
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, things did change because it was before Pizzeria Simulator came out, literally a month before.
Yeah. And
oh yeah,
then
I
at the
remember
end of the
that
theory, it's
happening.
like, no, don't get mad at me when next month new game comes out and everyone asks me to do a theory on that. And that's
And
exactly
literally a month later,
Literally the next month. That was
that
wild.
timeline was pretty good. It confirmed a few things, some of which we already suspected, like um, the bite of '83 being FNAF 4's bite.
Right.
Purple
Actually, don't
guy.
remember a ton from that.
I think it confirms that there there are actually two purple guys. One of which is literally purple, being Michael. The other one's being symbolically purple because he's a shady figure. That being, of course, William Afton. And
Yep.
then you have the whole Mike Trap and Will Trap debate, which Will Trap came up on top.
Yeah, exactly.
I
What do you
remember
guys?
actually
Sorry.
believing MikeTrap.
I believed Mike Trap for the longest time.
Really? Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I liked the concept of it.
Where like a guy who's trying to do his best and free the animatronics ends up getting mistaken for his own father and gets trapped in a suit
Yeah,
and rots and you know.
was it
yeah.
just because of the sister location cutscene?
Well, that and how I think it was when 8-Bit Orion's like when he was doing the sister location custom night videos, how he pointed out that when well, this is when everyone thought he was Michael, so I'm just gonna call the purple guy Michael. They said that Michael, the reason Springtrap has no bones in FNAF 3 when he's in Springtrap is because when he was scooped, he lost all his bones, which we know that's technically not true because Scott made a post about it, but it was interesting because, yeah, when you look at Springtrap in FNAF 3, you don't see any bones, just mangled flesh.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember I had an old theory that obviously is wrong now. It was that sister location was showing. Like I thought like when purple guy was actually killing people, I thought that was Ennard killing the kids. So purple guy didn't do anything wrong technically. That was my theory.
Purple
I
Obviously,
think
guy's innocent.
yeah,
I think I remember hearing something about that as well. Yeah.
I
but
had an interesting theory similar to that. You know, in FNAF 2 during Save Them, you know how everyone was debating whether or
yes.
not he was holding a phone, which sparked the whole purple guy's
Oh
phone
yeah.
guy debate. I
Yeah.
had this weird thought because when I looked at Ennard's hands in the extra menus, his hands looked very similar
Oh
to
yeah, because they're like
what.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I thought he wasn't holding anything; he just shocked them with his hands, which is stupid in hindsight. But you know,
Stitch
the
Wraith
shape.
style.
Yeah,
Oh
basically
my
the Stitch
god.
Wraith. Like the shape was so similar.
Interesting. And what do we think? What do we think was the whole deal with that sprite? I
Um,
personally think it was either just a wrench or it's just a weird way to do a hand.
yeah, I was thinking wrench as well. Something used to dismantle the animatronics.
It's definitely not a spring lock crank.
Definitely not a phone.
Yeah, so probably like a
I thought it was a
wrench,
banana.
Just a purple banana. Yep.
just puts it
Yeah.
down, lets the animatronic slip on it.
That would have been so
The
funny.
ultimate trap.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny.
That's what happened to all the kids too. They slipped and fell in pizza sauce.
Yep.
The kids aren't dead in FNAF? New theory?
Purple guy is innocent. He's a YouTube vlog pranker.
The ultimate twist. No one ever saw that coming.
This is what
How
Scott
did-
really intended.
How do you guys think MatPat's theories back then compared to theories these days?
I would say
Oh boy.
the old ones are just like iconic, I guess. Like, and they're really well done.
Yeah.
And while like today, I feel like some of his theories are questionable, but like there's so much info. And
MikeTrap is Shadow Bonnie from FNAF 3.
yeah, and
FNAF 1, 2003.
People, I remember I read somewhere that I remember I read this, and I completely agree. Someone was like, "Why do people trust MatPat so much?" And it's like it's easier to understand. It's easier to believe someone that like explains things well with like graphics on screen than somebody who just posts a 20-page doc and is like, "Read this."
Yeah.
But also
that's
he
true.
has like a fan base as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Now, I'm not like obviously, not everything he says is correct, obviously, but like I feel like,
Nobody really can be correct all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
but I feel like most of the time he's on the right page. Obviously, not always. Dumb theories, bad mistakes. Like the reboot was like the FNAF reboot thing that he did when, and then like everyone already knew. Like Scott was like, "Hey, I'm actually not the dev or whatever."
Yeah.
Didn't he say that the timing was awful because,
Yeah,
like, earlier that week, as he was releasing it, he made the post
yeah,
God.
stating that, hey, I'm actually not the developer. I just use my picture.
for the parallel. Yeah,
Yeah. So that you can blame on just poor timing.
yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, if I had to be honest, I feel like MatPat has like both the people who believe him without question and those who hate on him without question, and that must be so difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah,
One thing that I heard about MatPat, and I think he might have even said it himself, but I totally agree with it, is that his channel is less about actual like theories and trying to use evidence to come to conclusions, and it's more of ideas where he'll take some evidence and some of it can be stretches, some of it can be vague, some of it can be misinterpreted, and he presents
Mhm.
ideas to the community like, hey, what if this is what happens? But a lot of people take it as
this is
Yeah.
here is some evidence that I'm cherry picking, and this is true now. And there you can sort of see some of that because he ends up using conclusions he came to in other theories to back other theories of his, which especially in FNAF, like because we know this, which if you go back wasn't like fully confirmed, then this must also be this.
Mhm.
That's where it can get annoying, but a lot of the times it's just a lot of just interesting ideas that he puts out there.
I also feel like I've got to that point too with some of my theory videos and stuff like that. They're less of kind of theories and more just ideas. And I feel like if I say something like say one thing, then certain people are going to take it certain ways, and a lot of people are going to backlash, and a lot of people are going to agree. So it's kind of hard to get at level. And I mean, I feel for MatPat because he's got all
Yeah.
these people coming for him and stuff.
Yeah,
And I think it comes down to the fact that like it's kind of an epiphany that hit me recently. FNAF as it is right now is I think is kind of unsolvable because if we
Definitely.
had all the pieces, then it would have been done by now. But I think it's being kept in a state where I think Scott's intent is the whole idea generation. We have enough information to make theories and try and get at the truth, but never enough to fully understand the big picture. And I think since Security Breach is sort of a new era, I'm really hoping that either with the movie or in some kind of post or some kind of extra material that he sort of clarifies and gives us the satisfaction of knowing the full story. Because we've been at this for like almost like what,
Almost
7 years?
7 years. This
Almost
summer-
7 years. I think it's about time that some of the hard work of the community gets paid off without any of the frustration and rage of all these theory debates and trying to come to an absolute conclusion.
Do you guys? Okay, this is kind of going on what Inky said. Do you guys think Scott has the full story in mind?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think it's changed over time, but nothing crazy. I think
I
he's
don't
got-
think he does.
Well, I think I base most of my opinion on that off of the Daco interview. That's like really one of the
Oh, right,
times
right.
where that's one of the best times we've been able to really get into Scott's head
Yeah.
as far as the series. And I think based on what he said in that, I think there is some kind of, I don't know, lore document that he's got somewhere where he's got all the events, what happened, what they mean, how they connect to the things in the games, and he's not giving it to us. I mean, that's fair enough, because if he made it easy enough where we would all just like crack the code, solve the lore, FNAF probably wouldn't be where it is today. Like we would have moved on by now.
Yeah.
So respect him for that, but I think it is time. I think as Security Breach nears release, I think it's time to close that chapter.
You say it's time, Inky. Do we on and I'm not saying like, oh, do like not like, it's an honest question. Do you guys think Scott will actually reveal the story to us eventually?
I swear, if it's on his deathbed or something.
Oh my god.
Or
Purple guy is
or-
phone guy.
or he just takes it to his grave.
Oh, that would be so It'd
Yeah.
be such a troll move too, and I could
I
see it
feel like-
happening.
Yeah, one last troll.
Oh my god.
You know, go out with a
Man,
bang.
you have to go to his grave to find the timeline.
It's like
Yeah, you have
national
to
treasure.
Dig up his grave, and it's just the FNAF
You find a
chest.
clue.
No.
FNAF in real life.
No. You dig up his grave, and it's just the FNAF 4 box.
And to open the box, you find a paper, and it's just like, you need to go to Antarctica and dig up this other treasure. It just becomes national treasure for the FNAF lore.
FNAF National Treasure.
It's true.
No, you open the box and it says the world is actually flat.
Scott was a flat earther the whole time, and that's integral to the lore, of course.
You know, I
Them
could,
foul.
you know, I could see maybe like on the 10th anniversary him revealing the story of the first
Maybe.
6 games.
10th
I
anniversary.
can't see it.
Oh my god.
I don't think he's ever gonna say it.
Yeah,
I feel like
realistically, I don't think he will, but I hope he will.
Yeah.
with Fazbear Frights is an iffy subject,
I mean,
especially
he's-
now.
He said it's
with all the
supposed to
books.
reveal the lore, but then I don't know.
But it's still too
He's-
vague.
He said it would help answer some of the most important questions in his opinion. Not
Look,
what
this-
the
this is-
community thinks.
yeah,
what he
this is-
thinks.
This is why I feel like it's gonna be like the timeline is unsolvable now, because literally everyone is theorizing about FNAF in all different aspects, and no one's ever gonna come together and be like, okay, this is it.
Because everyone disagrees on something.
Yeah, the reason I say this is because, like, I don't want to call anyone out, but the other day I was having a conversation on my Discord, and we were literally we were talking about the Fazbear Frights books, and a piece of evidence that someone brought up was the fact that there was a widescreen TV in one of the stories, and
What?
I
story?
get Incoming Home.
Ah,
Yeah, I get that could be evidence, but at that point,
Evidence
you're
for
like
what?
really,
Evidence
you're
for- wait, wait.
picking up tiny bits, and I don't think it's really that
yeah.
intricate, you know?
No. Like, all that really tells you is that this story is probably not connected to the Stitch Race timeline.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because-
I don't know if it's sufficient
Yeah.
evidence, but I don't want to talk about that. But
Yeah.
like, it's stuff
Ozone's
like
gonna
that
get
that makes me go
PTSD.
insane.
When it
Yeah.
comes to the whole parallel aspect, because I feel like that's what Scott is meaning, because how else are we supposed to gather anything from these stories?
I believe there are parallels, and I know it's Inky, his parallel talk again. I think they exist, but I think
Parallel
that
talk.
I feel like they're still vague enough where people disagree on what is a parallel, what it means, and so ultimately it doesn't
Yeah.
really help with anything at all.
Yeah, and I've come to realize that over time because everyone will always drag something different from
Right.
with a specific parallel. Like
So yeah.
take the real Jake for example. With Jake himself, people will say he's a bite victim parallel. Others will say he's a Charlie parallel. Personally, I feel like it's a mix of both.
I personally think he's just a character. That's my opinion on it.
The safest route. The safest
Yeah,
route.
because when you think about it, the Stitch Wraith I don't feel like is supposed to parallel anything. I think like if there's parallels, which I believe there are, they're going to be in the main stories that are connected to FNaF. The Stitch Wraith story is kind of its own thing right now, so I've never really understood where people can draw parallels from it because it is sort of a separate story.
I personally
I feel like it's important. Go ahead.
I personally feel that I know like some of them don't seem to fit, but I personally believe all the Fazbear Fright stories are connected in some way.
I do as well.
Like sure, like some of them like count the ways don't really have any like things to like point out. Oh, these are connected to this story, but I still feel like all the Fazbear Fright stories are in one universe, and it's a universe with William Afton, as we've seen in Stitch Wraith, and I personally believe that all of most of the Fazbear Fright stories happen because the agony of Andrew went into a bunch of objects, and those got distributed out, and now like there's like a weird ball pit, a weird plush trap. There's these glasses that make a Ballora fall you. Like there's so much cursed stuff now.
Right, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like the internet.
Really is.
I would have fully agreed with you, Psychic, until what we found. Because what we found is a pain because there's Springtrap. Springtrap, William Afton's inside Springtrap, but William Afton is also a charred corpse that exploded in like the 90s in the FNaF or in the Fazbear.
I feel like some of the stories aren't connected to the Stitch Wraith timeline because what we found is a prime example.
Wait, does what we found give you a time like an actual date?
Well, it's after all the Freddy's stuff. It's long enough where it's become like legend and stuff, kind of like FNaF 3 in general.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, like
I was gonna
the premise
say,
of FNaF 3.
I was gonna say why may I just tell you guys the theory I just came up with? Could it be like so William in Springtrap got burned, then he got moved to the hospital, and kind of like how after FNaF 3, FNaF 6 and Help 1 tried to rebrand it, and then we get all the other Freddy stuff, maybe?
I see what you're saying, and it would work if it wasn't just for the fact that it's the Fazbear's Fright like location. If it was anywhere else, I'd say that would work, but because the man in room 1280 pretty much has to be at the beginning of the timeline for all of Andrew's shenanigans and cursed objects to happen, it's weird that William Afton exploded and then just is Springtrap again later.
No. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Oh.
It's just tricky because of the
I get
FNaF 3 location. Yeah.
It is weird. We can't even have a good book timeline.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
Scott, give us
I mean,
something.
it's FNaF. What do we expect?
Yeah. But I feel like what we found, or like book stories like that, like some of them are just meant to be, stories. I mean, you could try to fit everything together, but you'll end up just going in circles.
Right. That's why I stopped trying. I like reading them for the stories, and I've said that a million times before. And we always end up just talking about Fazbear Frights on these things again.
I personally read the story. I don't go in looking for theories. I read them for the stories, and then I theorize afterwards, which I think that's what you do, Inky, as well.
Yeah, I do that.
You too, Keith.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good way to do it.
Approach it, yeah.
You get the maximum enjoyment.
Yeah, you get to enjoy the story and then go back. It's sort of like replay value in video games.
Yeah. Let's say in the Fazbear Frights universe, or there's two universes or timelines or whatever. how okay would you guys be with there being multiple FNAF timelines?
I mean, we already have.
At this point,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know actually.
I personally want just for me, I would want it to be FNAF games timeline, FNAF books timeline. I I don't really want FNAF game timeline 1, FNAF game timeline 2, FNAF book timeline 1, FNAF book timeline 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
the thing is,
technically we already.
Oh, we lost Cuben. He'll
Panic! Panic!
Oh, he's back.
Oh, there he is. Okay, we're back. Panic
I just
ceased.
crashed.
That is unfortunate.
Okay.
yeah, carry on saying what you're saying, Inky.
Yeah.
As I was saying, we kind of already have that with the novels and the Fazbear Frights, so we do technically have 2 book timelines. Though you could argue that some stories are also in the novel timeline because of the Ella doll.
I mean the Ella doll from
it could just be more of
1:35
a
a.m.
reference, yeah.
That's connected to the Stitch Race story though.
Right.
Well, Psychic,
So-
I would prefer it if it was just one full timeline.
You mean
Well,
Like
that's-
this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. I hate the fact that there's different timelines doing different
Right.
things, and
But
it's
I understand. I understand why Scott did that though, because the main split happened when the Silver Eyes came out, and people were like, "Is this canon? Is this gonna help solve the games?"
it's
And Scott really expertly sort of said like, "This is a different perspective on the main story of FNAF. It has all the main elements, and it's like a different direction kind of. And so putting that in a different timeline allows a lot more creative control and different perspectives on the similar ideas."
I think that MatPat actually said it best in one of his book theories, where he was like talking about the difference between canon and continuity. How all the books are all the games, they're all canon, doesn't mean that they're in the same continuity. And I think that's a really good way to look at it.
The FNAF
multiverse,
lore, the FNAF collective.
The FCU. The FCU. And soon we're gonna get a movie.
Yeah, wait, that would.
Oh god, no! A movie timeline.
We need to do an episode on the podcast for the movie.
Yeah, we totally should.
We have no information on it.
Okay, but if there's a FNAF sequel, if there is a FNAF movie sequel, it is going to technically be a FNAF cinematic universe.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to point out that the FNAF movies would technically be a separate continuity as well, because I'm pretty sure Scott said in a post that the movies are gonna be set in the continuity of games 1 to 3.
Wait, really?
I'm positive he said that.
Yeah, he mentioned it. It was going back down to the roots.
Yeah,
simplifying it.
Back to basics.
If that's what actually happens, then that will be very helpful in old mystery. Maybe we can actually learn some stuff.
It'll depend.
However,
I think Scott will have to clarify whether the stuff in the movie is going to help with the games.
But we will have characters in there that have the same names.
Right, like the Michael script.
Jeremy.
And the Cassidy.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, even though the Cassidy skit was scrapped, I wonder if Cassidy will still appear in the movie in some form.
Apparently, all of them are being put together in some way, but he's mainly using the Mike screenplay.
Wait, hold on. Do you mean the Plushies Take Manhattan is gonna?
He said that he's taking some of the best aspects from some of the screenplays, so I assume that the Cassidy screenplay would be one of those things he takes from, because he did say that it would have been very satisfying to fans, the hardcore fans.
Mm-hmm.
So which is better, the Plushies or Manhattan?
Plushies.
Are we trying to compare a stuffed animal to a city?
Yes, we are. And if you don't like it, you can get off this podcast.
It just seems like a bit of a. It just seems like a bit like two different categories, you know?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
Just New York City, Manhattan area, or a Five Nights at Freddy's plush.
Okay, I've got a question for all of you.
And then
Ooh,
after that, I have a question.
Okay, would you rather one massive plush trap, like human-sized plush trap,
Is that just not? Is that
or
Springtrap?
10 baby-sized spring traps?
That.
One human-sized plush trap.
I mean, yeah. If you shine light on it, it can't really do anything to you.
Oh, that's
so.
true.
Oh yeah. Good answer. Good
Just
answer.
set it out in the sun and then set up a lamp next to it for the
Just
night.
set it on fire. That always works.
Oh yeah,
A glass of lemonade.
Just turn it into an attraction, a roadside attraction, like the big plush trap.
So we talked about the Cassidy screenplay. Do you guys want to talk? Like, there's lots of theories going on about who Cassidy is. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Oh God.
Are you sure you want to get into this?
Do we want to talk about this?
We have like at least 20 minutes left.
Oh no!
20 minutes already?
Yeah, we've been recording for half an hour.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, these podcasts go by really fast once
They
you're
really
in them.
do.
Okay.
I figured we'd talk about at least one modern theory in the because this one is a theory episode.
But Psychic, you had to choose this one.
Okay, do you guys want to talk about Golden Freddy? What are you talking about Golden Freddy?
No, wait, let's talk about Cassidy.
Okay.
So Cassidy.
All right, we're doing this.
Cassidy
I mean,
was
this
killed.
is kind of already indirectly about Golden Freddy now, Psychic.
True.
Okay, we can save this for another time. What do you want? What theory do you want to talk about, Inky?
Not Cassidy. Let's talk about Midnight Motorist.
Okay, that's fine.
Actually, that's
still,
quite well.
That's still infuriating, and but not as infuriating as Cassidy.
Right,
and also, you wanted to talk about Grandfather Afton the other day, didn't you?
Oh, Inky! You ruined
That was
it.
the first video I saw of Ozone.
Let me speak! I get kind of insane when everybody steals my thunder. Okay, so we were talking about old theories before. One of my first ever theories on my channel was a Midnight Motorist theory when it first came out. And it was the fact that Orange Guy was William Afton's father, aka Grandfather Afton.
Papa Afton.
Yeah, this theory is still true to this day, and we're popping off with the big ones.
It's as true as Puppet Duo.
Okay, in all seriousness though, if it weren't for the later that night thing, that's the main thing. I honestly would really like that theory because it almost sort of
would I.
It almost gives him a backstory. Obviously, not an excuse for him being all murdery, and I still think his main motivation was just being a maniac. But having a William backstory coming in from an abusive home would really just add a lot of depth to his character.
You think the movie will give us some form of backstory?
I would personally love that.
I think it's possible.
I mean,
because we've seen Michael's side of the story, the entirety of the FNaF games. I'd love to see the other aspects, the children and Afton.
Maybe if the main FNaF movie does really well, it could be the Michael movie, the kid movie, and okay, wait, no, hear me out.
The kid movie.
The kid movie. So if FNaF 1 is the Michael movie, and it's about him at the FNaF 1 location, and maybe flashbacks to FNaF 4 stuff involving the bite, whether you believe he's the bite victim or the older brother, it would still probably have stuff about the bite if it's a Michael story.
How did we get from Midnight Motorist to the FNaF movie again?
Say something real quick?
Okay, just wait. I just want to finish this because I have this idea, this game plan. If FNaF 1 location is the Michael movie and talks potentially about his past with the bite. FNaF 2 is the William movie because the FNaF 2 location is could be a prequel again, and that's where William Afton was introduced and where a lot of his murders were highlighted. Then FNaF 3 is focused on the MCI kids and William because of the whole Springtrap thing.
Okay. Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
That way Ozone, what you were saying with the other perspectives, William and the children, it could work in a trilogy setting if the first movie does well.
I like that, Inky. Now, I want to go back to something you said real quick. You were talking about Ozone's grandpa theory, and you mentioned the later that night.
Mm-hmm.
Which night do you guys think it's later of? Because there's many nights that are later.
The puppet,
yeah.
Charlotte's death.
I believe it is also Charlotte's death.
Because of the rain.
And the car, and the tire
And the
tracks,
car,
and him
yeah.
speeding down the highway at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
My take is similar. It's just when it takes place.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really have an indication on when.
Yeah. I mean, the most we have of when Charlotte dies is 83 because of the novels, but...
I mean, I think Henry implied she was the first, maybe, in his speech.
Wait a minute.
At the end of FNaF 6.
Aren't most of the novels event like 2 years ahead? So would it be 81?
No, because Freddy's isn't opened in 81. It opens in 83.
Yeah.
I guess
in the trilogy, doesn't Charlotte die in 83?
She does.
She dies at Fredbear's, which honestly, if we're going from novels to games, I would have preferred her to die at Fredbear's. But from what we have, it seems like she dies at Freddy's.
Right.
Which complicates my timeline because I have it set so Freddy's is opened after the whole events of FNaF 4's minigames.
What about Fredbear's and Freddy's are open at the same time? Bite victim sees Charlie's death, is scared in FNaF 4, but Freddy closes because of Charlie's death, and then sister location opens.
The thing about that,
I don't know. I'm
pretty sure a FNaF 2 phone guy call implies that Freddy's was created, like bought out after Fredbear's got shut down by Fazbear Entertainment. So,
yeah, that's because what I believe happens is you have the games for FNaF 4. You have the bite victim dies. And then Freddy's opens, where you'd have Charlie's death, and then you have, the MCI.
That'd be interesting. I honestly,
I hate the timeline.
Whenever you try and make a timeline, it's just gonna be a mess. I don't know why we chose theories for the topic of this podcast.
Episode 100, we're gonna be making our own timeline.
Yes, it'll be like a 6-hour long episode of us just debating.
Yeah.
I'm on page 7 of my timeline.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just wanna say with the puppet thing, the whole Charlotte death thing, something about that is Afton didn't really necessarily use the spring lock suit then.
Right, he did not.
So I don't know if that
what do you
makes
mean?
A change. Well, he didn't use the spring lock suit to kill Charlotte. But he used it to kill the other kids.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the glitch trap suit.
What about? I'm not like the most up to date with like all the theories. So I remember an old one like Charlie didn't die first. It was like the missing children. It was actually the first thing.
I personally believe that she didn't die first.
I'm kind of mixed on that because it makes sense. Yeah. But then you have Henry's lines in the Insanity ending, making it seem like,
first inflicted on me and then on to others.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I forgot how annoying the timeline was.
Charlie dying first is probably one of the closest events we have to confirmation because of that Henry line.
But then there's the Chica line from Ultimate Custom Night.
I feel like that's meant to represent that she was the first given life, not that she was I mean, you could say she was the first victim of the MCI, saying she was the first.
I've heard something about like she's the first one in the vent and Ultimate Custom Night or something.
No. No. That would be funny. That would be funny, but no.
Like, imagine like it's this whole lore complicated thing, but in reality the line was just about like the actual gameplay of the game. Like, haha, got you first.
Personally, I've always believed in the Toy Chica high school thingy that associating with William's victims.
But you have 7 victims. Who do you think the 7th one was? Because you have the main
the
6.
dog.
Could it be
the dog?
Could it?
No. Genuinely, that's
okay.
The
but
theory.
Wait, the thing is, the Toy Chica explains like about the dog.
Yeah.
And not because if the 7th victim was the dog, what story would she say to like lure them over to the house or something?
Let's
Because
see.
like the dog is used in a story
So
rather
there's
than
7
being
victims.
one.
Yeah.
How many? Let's see. There's 7 victims. How many important characters are there? Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy,
Too many.
Golden Freddy, Puppet,
The puppet.
Bite Victim? No.
That
I
wasn't a
detect
victim.
BV. That BV. Oh no.
Oh no.
I mean, I always, like whenever like people say like William killed his own kid, I always assumed they meant like he made the robot that killed the kid. So.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
Do you
stretch.
think it could
But
have?
it's,
Hold up.
it's just a stretch. A game
Here's a
stretch.
here's a thought I had. Would do you? This kind of goes into the novel territory. Ooh, that territory. But do you think it could be possible that the 7th victim was Sammy?
I don't see any evidence for Sammy being
We need
a person in the games
we
at
need
the
to
moment.
See Sammy in the games.
True. But I just
Fun
find
fact:
it
this is
interesting.
also one of my old theories.
Bite victim is Sammy Afton.
I used to believe that for like last year.
Sammy Afton, let's go.
Well, not Sammy. Afton,
Sammy, Susie, Emily.
No, I believed in Sammy Emily like last year. Because at one point I just got fed up with the whole Michael debate, so I decided that like no, he's not either. He's neither of the siblings. He's just his own character.
What do you guys think about Michael Afton these days?
I still like bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the older brother.
I
Is that
acknowledge.
just because of Step Closer?
No, it's actually not at all because of Step Closer.
I think it's partly because of Step Closer, but also because in terms of the context of 1 to 4, like 4 games, 1 story, nothing really implicates the idea that Bite Victim came back to life under those specific.
Yeah, I guess.
Those main 4 games.
These days, I acknowledge Mike Victim as a theory that people believe with some ground, but I disagree with it because I don't think their explanation for the logbook is good enough. Because it requires the party was, or it requires it was for me to be an answer on a quiz, which is not it's not a question, or it's not a question on a quiz because it's a statement and you can't really So
there
that's
is
like the
one
big hole with
explanation. There is one explanation that I thought was interesting for the Mike Victim. You know the page where Michael draws Nightmare Fredbear?
Yeah.
Yep.
The question asks, "Do you have dreams?" And then you have a picture of Nightmare Fredbear.
Yeah.
People have pretty much convinced me that Michael is the main character, is the protagonist of the gameplay of FNaF 4.
Right. I'd say that's pretty much confirmed because of the phone call.
Yeah. It's the phone call that honestly got me. That's like.
Yeah. Also the fact that Bonnie on the left, Chica on the right. Same setup as FNaF 1, so.
Oh, yeah.
There's still like inconsistencies though, and I think there's always going to be inconsistencies because Scott's changed the story so much.
I remember.
Or even just like let some details accidentally slip.
Sorry about that. I had to take care of something.
It's okay. I remember debating this theory a little while ago. What do you guys think about the Nightmare animatronics being real? I disagree with that, but
I partly believe it. I liked Underscore's take on it because it made sense.
What was his take on it? I don't remember that.
His take was that Nightmare Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Plushtrap, and Nightmare Balloon Boy, they were real, but Nightmare Fredbear and Nightmare weren't.
And they were Crying Child and Cassidy, essentially.
Yeah, which I think still holds up.
Because it also creates a link with Golden Freddy and Shadow Freddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. I personally believe that while that was a nice idea, and obviously FNaF theorizing is a lot of just ideas these days, I personally didn't. I saw it pretty much mostly as an idea without too much evidence beyond like this kind of lines up. My opinions on the nightmares being real, I think the breaker room and sister location really complicated things. So I think there are physical animatronics but I don't think that they're the ones we see in FNAF 4 because I obviously believe the gameplay of FNAF 4 is a dream, whether or not the actual animatronics are physical somewhere in the world.
Oh yeah,
But
the FNAF 4
wait,
gameplay is 100% a dream.
I would like for the breaker room, Inky. One thing that throws a wrench into this. I mean, it's FNAF. There's always at least like 50 wrenches per theory.
There's always wrenches. Yeah.
But for the break room, I believe you're referring to each room has a square with like where
Right.
the robot is. For the Plush Trap Holiday, there's a square in each room.
Right, and that is what held me back from believing that for the longest time until someone explained in a rather satisfying way for me that that's where the animatronics are, like, it's where they're programmed to go. So the plush trap can go to all of those doors. Doesn't mean there's a plush trap for every one of those doors, but it's just sort of like a spot where they can be. It's like it's like their starting position and positions where they can go.
Every
which would
plush
imply
trap in
that
that game
there
is a
are-
different plush trap.
Every time you see them, it's a different one. They're all tag teaming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plushies take your life.
They've moved on from Manhattan and they've moved on to you. It's your turn.
Plushies take you.
I could see like someone said this a little bit ago where they aren't physically nightmare animatronics at those locations. Do we want to talk about illusion discs? I had a feeling that once I brought this topic up, you would all groan, and I was right.
I
mean-
fake news.
I just like to think that yeah, they exist. All right, move on.
What?
That's my take.
I think it's similar to what MatPat said about the dream theory, with the fact that illusion discs are like overpowered theories.
Yeah.
Because you can take anything in FNAF and say, oh, that's just illusion discs.
That is.
And
like,
at that point, yeah.
it's unsatisfying.
Because we don't
I
know
think-
like how far it goes or anything.
And the thing is, illusion discs exist, obviously. They're in the novels. But I think they stay in the novels because we haven't seen a single one in the games, and there's no reason to believe that there is one.
And no, it's not Funtime Freddy's power module.
Right, because he says it's a power module.
Yeah.
Like how much more specific do you want him to get?
Plus, in the graphic novel, like again, the graphic novel is questionable because they've made mistakes like Michael Brooks being regular Freddy Fazbear and not Golden Freddy.
Oh,
But-
God.
They have, I think they're described like yeah, they're discs, but they don't look anything like the power modules.
Like, there's no mention of like a blinking red light.
No, no.
Well, they said that it was like coin shaped or something, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
was
it's a
coin
disc.
shaped.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Make it square.
Yes, Minecraft illusion.
That's what I was thinking. Inky.
Of course, it's all coming together now.
FNAF is Minecraft confirmed. You're welcome, guys. Thank you for
We
watching the
did it.
podcast. We'll see you next time.
We did
Steve
it.
Aston.
We solved the FNAF timeline.
Steve Afton.
Ender Manfston.
Goodbye, internet. Goodbye.
Wait, how are we on time?
Well
Are we
done.
actually closing out now?
We are at almost 50 minutes. We have a little bit more time.
That's. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
It's. We don't have to have like a strict.
I was
know.
just doing my epic
Like-
outro.
Do we want to do any more topics or?
I feel like right now we're in like the part where we can like talk. We can talk a little bit more, or we can, you know.
You know, I think we should take the last little bit and talk about the support that the podcast has got so far.
Yes.
With the first episode.
So we recorded episode 1 and episode 2 on the same day, and right now it is June 8th. So 3 days after the first episode came out. And let me check real quick. The first episode got, drum roll please while I pull it up, 200.
Oh, I'm good at the drum roll.
231 views, which 231 is like the most I've ever gotten, and the support means so much to me. Also, I gained like 11 subscribers. So
Yeah, it was so good to see like people actually like excited about it because like
Mhm.
obviously you always assume the worst, and with me I was assuming like, oh, it's literally like a 50-minute long video of them talking with a still image in the background. I'm not watching this, but there was just so much like excitement and support,
Mhm.
and people like really loved it, and that was really
Yeah.
cool to see.
It-
And I have a feeling like touch wood, theory podcast is going to do better.
maybe.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much everything. Do you guys have any last final thoughts?
Let's give a warm round of applause to Cuben for being the special guest
thank
today.
you, Cuben, for being a special guest.
Thank you. It was nice being on here.
Good.
Imagine just the video cuts there. That's it.
That's
It's
the
over.
end. Gotta-
Goodbye podcast.
Yeah.
It's just like, it was nice being here, bump.
It was nice being here. I wouldn't mind coming on again some other time.
No.
You know, if
No, you get kicked out of the group chat and you're just gone.
No.
hold on.
Yeah.
You've spent your time.
Yeah. For any other theory debates in the future, I wouldn't mind coming on.
Of course.
We'd love
And
to
guys,
have you.
just for reference as well, you can listen to this podcast everywhere on the internet.
Yes.
Links in the description. Links everywhere.
On the internet.
Spotify, SoundCloud, other places, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
One place you can't listen to
Podcasts.
it is my channel, which you should also subscribe to.
Yes. I'll leave links to everybody in the description.
I have a channel. I have 2 videos and I haven't posted in 6 months.
Let's go.
Now you're that's the sign of
Another
peak
round
quality.
of applause.
Another round of applause.
I really need to upload.
That's the sign of a YouTuber right there. Just 2 videos 6 months since.
I need to upload. Actually, no, 4 months.
Sounds like
Ah,
a
a lot
district.
better.
That's like the sweet spot of like absence.
And somehow I'm still gaining subscribers despite having 2 videos.
Once
I
again,
promise
It's because
I'll
of things
upload
like
soon.
this.
it's like, welcome to YouTube. This is how it works.
That's how it works. I think that's pretty much everything.
All right.
We
Thank
hope.
you all for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Or listening.
Yeah,
All of the above.
watching
You're not
or
really
listening.
watching much, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Pride Month.
Yes.
Happy Pride.
Oh, and
Month.
how about this? If you guys want to see somebody else on, like, for a special guest, let us know in the comments and we'll.
Don't just suggest yourself,
Yeah.
And don't suggest MatPat or Dorco or
Yeah.
Raspouse.
because it's not happening.
Yeah. We're not big enough yet. One day though.
One day.
One day, yeah.
One day though, we'll get MatPat on the podcast, and I will clickbait the hell out of that. And with that,
I will email him because he will recognize my name. Except he'll probably never see the
I
email. 'cause his
emailed
team-
Scott Cawthon.
The funny thing is that even if I tried, he'd probably never see the email because like his team would like filter it out first and then just not show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get more important, Iki.
I do. Being on Game Theory wasn't enough. I have to be his personal advisor.
You're like, no, MatPat, that's not a good theory. You don't upload that.
MatPat, no. Sans is not Lucas either. Please.
No, it's not FNaF 1 in 2003.
Papyrus is Ness.
MatPat, no, MatPat, you're drunk again. Please put down the upload button.
Put down the
Talk
upload.
about the other stories for once.
Drunk on
Said
Diet Coke.
It's been nearly a year. You've yet to talk about coming home.
But you know what button you should not put down? The subscribe button. Make sure you hit it.
Yes, never
Okay.
put down the subscribe button.
Yeah.
Also,
And
a
the
small
notification
percentage
bell.
of
Ding
you
ding.
are not subscribed. So please subscribe. It's free. You can always unsub. Anyway, enjoy the video.
We have dragged
said
this
the thing,
out.
he said the
we
thing.
have dragged
I
this
said
out
the
so
thing.
long. I'm ending it. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
Welcome
watching.
to the Dark Rooms podcast.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.